Hi everyone. If you're like me and you work in a corporate environment managing the Microsoft 365 suite, you know you have to move really fast these days. Microsoft is deploying new capabilities at such a pace, you need to keep up with it, manage it, make sure it's secured, make sure it's fit for purpose for your environment, and then educate your users on all the new things coming out. I had 3 ideas on using the Microsoft 365 roadmap site in a little bit different way to support me in this fast rollout. So I'm going to show you 3 things today. The first thing is going to be how to use the roadmap site information to evaluate what type of skills your users should focus on and what you should focus on deploying and educating your user community on. The second thing is to create posts and create information you can share to Viva Engage with the Microsoft roadmap information and then publish that within a Viva Engage site. And then the third thing is to create a Microsoft SharePoint page that educates users on that with a specific format. I have 3 different prompts that will help you to accomplish all of these things using Copilot. So let's get started. So the key to my first scenario is the Microsoft 365 roadmap site. This site is very rich with information that you can use and that help you understand what's coming out, what's been deployed, and what's coming in the future. The Microsoft 365 roadmap site has a really nice little search interface, and we're going to use that today. So I'm focused on Copilot within my environment. I'm going to go down and select Microsoft Copilot. I'm going to go to status and say, I'm looking for something that's rolling out. So this is what's coming next. And then what's the release phase? You can set the channel that your users are in or that you're in, and you can start to evaluate what's coming out next and what you need to focus on. When I search on that, I can see a bunch of new information that's filtered directly for me. And I'm going to focus on one thing, and that is to download this information so I can use it for my next step, which is to evaluate all of the different capabilities coming out, whether it's right for my environment or not. So what I'm going to do is scroll to the top after I've filtered. I'm going to click on this button for download. I'm going to download that information to a spreadsheet, and I'm going to use that spreadsheet to interrogate it using Microsoft Copilot and evaluate what's right for my environment. Okay, so here's the spreadsheet of the information that I just downloaded. Now, what that comes across as is a CSV, so you have to change that into an Excel file. So I've changed that CSV into an Excel file, saved it to my OneDrive so Copilot is able to leverage that. This is called M365 Copilot Roadmap Items, and it's all of the information that is coming out, that is rolling out very soon with respect to Copilot. It has 2 very important fields. The first is the description, and I know you probably can't read that because it's so small. Actually, I could scroll in. So it has the description file or a description column, and it has a details column. These are key to understanding and helping Copilot understand what that particular feature is going to offer to my users. All right, so I've pre-written a prompt and I'm going to copy paste it into here. This is going to be available in a link in my post, so you'll be able to copy this and use it for your, modify it for your own uses. You're a professional with deep experience in Microsoft Copilot and information technology. Evaluate all of the items in this list with regards to both the description and the detail column, and tell me if it's right for this profile of user. So I have a bunch of instructions and output. Let's go ahead and attach that spreadsheet. So I'm going to go click on the plus sign. There we go, and it's uploading my spreadsheet, and it's done. So now I'm going to execute that, and what Copilot's going to go do is look at that roadmap information, match it to the profile that I have defined within the instruction set here, and then say, these are the things that you need to be focused on. So I'm focused on deploying and educating on the highest value to my company, the items that are in the list. So I've asked it to rate things 1 to 6, and you see here, Microsoft Copilot presentations, enable rapid creation of client-ready presentations, interpreter agents, and it's given a rating of 1 to 6, and there's a bunch of 6s here, And then I've asked it also to give me a top 10 highest impact features and tell me just a little blurb about it. And it's done that as well. So this is very powerful, looking at a spreadsheet, going through a list of 40 to 50 some odd items. It could be different depending on when you download your spreadsheet, of course. But it's saying these are the top 10 that you should maybe focus on. I can now look at this and have a roadmap for what I should create knowledge articles or job aids for. All right, now that I have my list of the 10 highest impacting features, I look those over and I see one here, Copilot audio interviews within Word or Notebook. This is something I recognize, you know what, there are a lot of people asking me questions about this capability. They're very interested in this. Maybe I'll focus on that one first. So I'm going to go and find that in my spreadsheet, which is right here, and it's in row 9. So Copilot can generate an audio overview of your Word document, and then there's the details. I'm just going to do a Control C. I'm going to go over to Copilot, and I'm going to put in a new prompt. So I'm going to put that information into Copilot, and right above that information, I'm going to put another one of my prompts. This is the prompt that is called Create a Viva Engage community post that's in the information below. So this prompt is the Viva Engage post that's in the link below. I'm going to Control V that and say, you're acting as a social media content creator, and it has a bunch of instruction here. Actually, that's something weird that it brought over. So I'm gonna, there we go, clear that out. And this is ready to go because I have the information and I give it some instructions about what I want the post to be about. Do I use wit or do I use professional language? What's the response rate here? So here it has come up with something with emojis, which I limit in my Viva Engage posts, but it says your Word docs are about to start talking, literally. So I can take this, copy that, and go over to my Microsoft 365 Viva Engage community, go into a post here, and do a Control V. Now I've created within just a matter of moments a social media post about content that I believe from my prompt tells me is going to be important to my company. Now what I would want to do is go ahead and edit this. Then I'm going to want to create an image. And of course I use Microsoft Create to use this image. So I've uploaded an image of a woman podcasting. And that brings to mind, okay, this is an audio version of my document. This is really great. So I can modify this, focus on the areas that I want to focus on, and I hit post. And there's my Viva Engage post in just a matter of moments, all driven from my previous prompt and the Microsoft roadmap information. So now that I've told people about this, I'm going to go and show you how I can create a more in-depth knowledge source, such as a SharePoint page, to educate people on exactly what they can do here to expand that. Once I create a SharePoint page, I would come back to here to Viva Engage, and I would link Viva Engage to that other SharePoint page and say, click here to learn more. So it'll have more detail and more information. Let's go ahead and create our SharePoint page with a prompt that is the third and final prompt in this video. All right, so now I've got my Viva Engage post, and now I want to create a SharePoint page that's going to act as a more detailed, more rich source of information. I'm going to highlight my Viva Engage post and do a Control C. I'm going to go over here and do a Control V, and I'm going to go to the top. So right now, that is only my Viva Engage post. All right, so let's add that information. This is a very long prompt, the longest of the three, because it's a lot of information that I want to create about this topic. I'm going to go ahead and execute that, and we'll see what Copilot comes up with for my SharePoint page. I have told it my SharePoint page is going to be different than a Viva Engage post. So I've said these are the sections that I want within the SharePoint page. So it's very prescriptive and gives me a couple stubs also that I can go and fill out later. So here is the SharePoint information. So let's just go down to the bottom and copy that out. And I'm going to move over to my SharePoint site, and this is where I educate all of my users. I'm going to go down and choose to do a page. All right, and this is about a topic. So I can use a template, or I could use just a blank page. Actually, I might go back and just create a blank page. All right, so add a descriptive title, add my text. I'm just going to Control V that information, and I'm going to say this is going to be audio files from your documents in a podcast. All right, so audio files from your documents in your podcast. Now what I would do is go and break this down into different subsections, and I would do this manually. The reason, some of you may be saying, why don't you just use the prompt within the SharePoint with Copilot? Currently it's in beta testing, but create the page using Copilot directly. What that doesn't allow me to do is put in a long prompt with a descriptor and be very prescriptive on what the different sections are. So I'm doing this in Copilot directly and copying and pasting it. And then I can go and modify this. And of course I can say, go to this site to request access. So very structured. So it's the same every time for my users. It's introduction of the topic, how to request access, getting value from this topic, and then possibly some integration ideas with some hyperlinks. So I would go and modify this information, and I would go and publish it. And now people have a information-rich source of information directly from the Microsoft Roadmap site. It allows me to create this information quickly and leverage a tool that Microsoft is already giving you for free, and use that information to educate your users and share with them all the great things that Microsoft 365 can do for them. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope to see you again very soon.